All right, so it's March 28th. Yesterday we dug up the bucket of chestnuts, and to our happy surprise, a lot of them had actually sprouted. As you can see there's a tiny little radical coming out, and we don't want it to be too much longer, so I guess now is a really good time to get them to where they're going. But we're not totally ready, so we're doing trying a few different things. We're doing some in buckets, just in some potting soil with some drainage on the bottom, and we'll probably keep them in the greenhouse because if they freeze they'll die. And then we're gonna do some air pruned beds in the next week, but we wanted to just try this out and see if it works. I thought I had done the bucket wrong because it wasn't all the way full, so I filled the rest with leaves, which then I was like, they're gonna make it mold, but it worked out, and we buried the bucket a little too deep, I think, but it still worked. So they're pretty flexible, I guess, and resilient. Yeah, so we'll see how this works. Hopefully the rodents won't get to them, and hopefully they won't freeze in here. I can't tell if we should mulch them a little bit or give them some insulation, but we'll find out. Yeah. Okay, so what we did with the rest of them is that we dug a hole almost as deep as the bucket. Not quite, because the ground is really rocky and it's hard to dig a hole. So we just buried it, mulched it, not really very well, but a little bit, and I think it'll be enough because it won't get that much below freezing anymore. And the ground was pretty thawed right here, so I think it'll be all right for another week. April 18th, and what I've done here is I dug up, this was filled with sawdust and the chestnuts, and I dug them all up. Some of the radicals got kind of long, like this one, which is kind of hard, and I was warned against it, but couldn't get to them fast enough, so some of them did break off. They might die, they might not, they might most likely be a little bit stunted. But got some really cool ones. I don't really know what's going on there. It's got like two that unite. This one's got like little teeth or legs. But I was not expecting them all to do this well. I don't know why, I just assumed. But got like about 260 that weren't totally molded, and like maybe 40 that were molded. And not all of these are sprouted, but these are at least the ones that weren't super moldy, and they might have a sprout in them coming out soon. So now, basically what we're doing is we're just cutting some hardware cloth to put in that nice like how big is it? It's 3 foot by 3 foot? Yeah. 3 foot by 3 foot bed, so that it can be rodent proof, and then we'll lift it up off the ground so there'll be good drainage, and the roots will get kind of air pruned, which means that once they hit the air, the roots will be like, oh, this isn't soil, and they'll go dormant. And if we put them in pots, then the roots would kind of just keep twisting and twisting around, and when we went to transplant them, they would be all confused. So this way we can just dig the roots up out of this, and when we transplant them, the roots that hit air before and went dormant will wake back up again and realize that it's soil and go around and make really healthy roots for a healthy tree. So I guess the roots of the chestnut, that's a really important thing to do. And since, as we know, they're really tasty, all the rodents want them because they're super nutritious, so we are really doubling down on rodent proofing the whole thing. Yeah. So we've got like a 3 by 3 foot bed, which I think is bigger than we need, but it could fit about 200, 300 chestnuts, even 400. And the bottom is lined with some cloth to keep in the soil, some chicken wire and hardware cloth, and all around the sides, because the sides have some little cracks in them. And then I made this box to go up top that will let the chestnuts grow, but will keep rodents and stuff from getting in. And so after they're mature enough and not attractive to rodents anymore, we can just take it off and let them grow, and then we'll dig it up, dig them out of there the next fall and get them in the ground. And then here we propped up the bed on, sorry, it's the wrong way for you, I guess, on some rocks, so there's a little bit of air. Hopefully the rodents won't get too happy hiding out under there. And I'm filling it, in the process of filling it with a mix of native soil. It's kind of clayey. Yeah, look at that, it really sticks all together. It is a little wet finally here. And some compost from the farm, and then a mix of like perlite, vermiculite, and peat moss, which hopefully will help the soil aerate and retain moisture. And then I'm just going to go ahead and plant them in a grid and see what happens. I totally forgot that I cold stratified, along with the chestnuts, some persimmon and pawpaw seeds. And I don't really know what I'm supposed to do with those. I didn't really have time to research it right now, so I'm just going to put them in and see what happens and see if they make friends with the chestnuts. Yeah, it's like really exciting.